Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? My name is Jordan Hamilton. I am with Tradition Bows. We want to put together some viewer content for you guys, some tutorials and informational videos that are going to help you guys in the craft of bow building. The first thing we want to cover today as a basic is the questions that we had as builders. How do you become a bowyer, and what woods do you generally use that are the best for what you're trying to accomplish, which is building a bow? There's a couple, well actually there's more than a couple, there's a lot of woods that are available out on the market. Now, whether your pocketbook can afford it is a big difference, you know. There are woods that you can harvest that are in your state, the place that you live, that are affordable and that you can do half the price. You can do all the footwork yourself. But that's not always an option for some people, so you have to really think about the different options that you have. Let's talk about the woods first. Here we have ash. This is actually white ash. Probably came up from somewhere around like Alabama, Georgia. Generally these bows grow in kind of swampy conditions. They're a horrible wood to use if I can make it that impressive upon you. There are different subspecies in ash. Ash is just a type of species, but there are subspecies, just kind of like there's like different frogs, but it's still a frog. So I don't recommend ash. Just because I've only had one spout with this ash, it was very expensive, it didn't work very well at all. Okay, made a lot of good firewood, we'll give it that. Now I'm going to move on to this. This is hickory. Now, by far, one of the best, most forgiving woods you can buy out on the market. If you don't live in Florida, you generally have a mass amount and availability of this wood in your home state. It grows everywhere, literally. Up north, east, west, south, it's good. We actually have hickory here in the state of Florida, but it's not a very harvested wood. Now, moving on to some more technical woods. This is ipe, also known as Brazilian walnut. It's considered an ironwood. Not very forgiving, extremely hard to work with, but it's got a tensile strength like you wouldn't freaking believe. It's amazing. The only downfall of this is, if you're going to buy it, you're going to be buying it generally for the purpose of somebody had bought it, produced it, saw cut it and everything for it, for the simple fact that they were going to be building a deck. It's not generally made to be a bow wood per se, not like hickory. So it's one of those woods, very forgiving, but it's amazing wood. You can do a lot of things. Eric, actually my co-owner and best friend, is going to be talking about some of the things that you can do with this wood in particular. On to the next one. We have black walnut. Black walnut is a very good wood. As far as bow building with this wood, because it's a dense wood, I wouldn't really recommend it for a short bow. Maybe a long bow would work very well. In this case, the tensile strength of this bow is not as good. You want a bow that's flexible but not rigid. Rigid's where it starts breaking. The next wood I have here is purple heart. Absolutely an okay wood to build bow out of, but not 100% great. Tensile strength, very hard. That means low flexibility. If you have low flexibility, you have a bow that is going to be really long so that it can get the draw length that you're looking for. The next one. This is actually a very, very rare wood, and it was very expensive. Very expensive mishap to learn that it doesn't make a good bow wood out of, and that is Sepa mahogany. Any mahogany. I don't care if you can give me the best bowyer in the world, will tell you, don't waste your time with this wood. The reason being, with it being shipped from Africa and very remote places of the world, it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be something that they're not going to try to waste a lot of, so it's going to be very expensive. Now, on to some other things. There is other woods that you can use. I actually went down and hand cut down a piece of Australian pine. If you don't know what Australian pine is, go on Google, do a search, and find out what it looks like in your native state. It all looks the same pretty much from what my research that I've done. I hand cut it, let it sit for about 6 months, went ahead, planed it down to a nice square box, and then started hand planing it. Beautiful. The wood is amazing. Now, you're going to have to go very thick with it to get the kind of poundage that you're wanting out of it, but great wood, very forgiving, almost to the point where it's like you're working with hickory, but just not the highest tensile strength. Okay, another one, hickory. Oh, sorry, not hickory, mulberry. There we go. Now we clarified it. Mulberry is almost like a tree shrub that grows kind of in desolate, dry, but somewhat damp environments. You can kind of find them somewhere in the sandy areas, all over the place. They grow anywhere in the southeastern, western United States, and sometimes even a little bit above the Mason-Dixon line, give or take. Very forgiving wood, very elastic. You're going to find a lot of forgivingness and a lot of really brilliance and beauty in the wood. Another one that we're going to move on real quick is yew. That wood over there. You're going to see it's actually got the bark on it. This wood right here, here's the main problem that I have with this wood. For one, very hard to work with, very temperamental as far as humidity goes. You're going to have to age it for a long time, seasoning it, that is. There's a lot of things you're going to have to do with this wood to make it probable and useful for you. It's a great wood, very toxic, along with the lines of Ipe. Ipe is very toxic. You do not want to cut this stuff and mess with this stuff without a respirator. I'm guaranteeing you. Don't get a splinter in your finger or you will hate your life for about 2 weeks. It will make your whole finger swell up. It sucks. I've been there. Please don't do it. So, back to medieval times, one of the best known woods, imported from Spain and other places like that, Italy. So these woods, I'm not going to do everything in the shop. These woods are phenomenal for using, but it comes back down to what do you need to do. Now, the next thing I want to talk about real quick, I'm trying to condense this as much as possible, but your grain pattern. Your grain pattern is going to be variable of the wood that you're using. Remember, wood is just like snowflakes. You can have an absolute tree that looks the same, but if you cut it down the middle, each grain on each different side of the tree is going to look completely different. There's going to be pinholes. There's going to be bug holes that they work their way through the wood. You're going to have natural occurring things where there's compression in the wood, where the limbs come out and they put stress on the tree at a certain point so the grains grow a little bit closer together or further apart. This is a lot to take in, I understand, but when you start reading, doing your research, asking questions, figuring out how this stuff works, it's going to help you become a better bowyer, and the fact that you're going to understand why the principles are set the way they are so you can become a better bowyer. You'll know them, there are formulas out there, and it's going to help you become a better bowyer. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.